It's been nearly a month since the Hamas terrorist attack on Israel. Russia's war on Ukraine is approaching its 20th month, and tensions are consistently high in the Taiwan Strait as China threatens to invade Taiwan. All of this while Canada grapples with a growing diplomatic crisis with India. With the world and Canada in geopolitical turmoil, there are concerns over how these issues will impact the Canadian economy and Canadian businesses. Joining us now to discuss how our current geopolitical situation will impact Canadian commerce is Thomas Caldwell, Chair of Caldwell Securities Ltd. Mr. Caldwell,
Really?
thank you very much for joining us today on Forum Daily.
Thank you for having me.
So, what are the ramifications of the geopolitical situation we are now facing for businesses?
Well, I come at the world through the stock market, and market sentiment is affected by absolutely everything that's going on in the world. Clearly, the task of terrorists is to do something totally outrageous, which they have done, to elicit an inordinate response. That gives them profile and drags in allies and supporters. And that's really what seems to be happening in the Middle East. The most important thing is to keep the thing contained. I think the American presence there is reminding Hezbollah in the north to just lay low and don't get involved in this mess. So it's going to be very, very difficult. And, listen, you have to look at both sides. The Palestinians have had a very, very rough time over the years, but nothing justifies what, in fact, they did. So you have that going. The Ukraine, you're getting to stalemate there. When you get to stalemate, it's usually time to talk. Ariel Sharon had a great line years ago. He said, sooner or later, you got to talk to your enemies. I think China will lay low as far as, the Taiwan Straits for the time being. Canada is we're not a factor on the world stage at all. I mean, our big problems in our economy is we're seen as investment hostile. It's very difficult to get anything done in Canada. Big projects like the Ring of Fire, the Trans Mountain, major companies just stay away from Canada. And you can see the separation in our economic performance and that of the United States. We're going down. We're not keeping up. And we need a change of thinking, regime, policies, and basically some policies that will affect the economy and encourage business.
Now, when we look at all this, how does that affect markets generally?
Well, most of the impacts in markets and this type of thing are indirect. For example, if you look at our Jewish friends, they're traumatized by this all around the world because in their psyche, there's this fear of another Holocaust. So they are extremely threatened. Here in Canada and everywhere, you see these protests for the other side, for the Palestinians, and they feel deeply threatened by that. And you must remember, the Jewish community, they're big investors, and they're also huge donors. They're very philanthropic. So it does have a muting effect because of this fear, this anxiety, this effect on the psyche of our Jewish friends. So there's a big problem here, and that does affect the market indirectly.
So, what about the potential of a recession?
Well, we always have that. And remember, you got to separate Canada from the United States. We have been going on cruise control with a focus on vote-getting issues and climate change. I was joking about Toronto. The city council's made a decision in Toronto. It's bikes or business. They chose bikes because it impacts not only big business and people coming downtown, but small businesses. So we've had policies that have been fairly hostile to the economy. So the Canadian economy is going to have a recession. Make no mistake about that. And it could even be worse. And again, my world is the downtown core. You wander through there, say the Path, there are lots of stores that are boarded up and won't be coming back for quite a while. So it's not, if you look around, you're already seeing the signs in Canada. U.S. economy, on the other hand, booming, just blistering ahead in spite of higher interest rates.
So, in your view, which of the major geopolitical issues has the biggest impact on the global economy?
Well, right now, it's once these things start, it shocks everybody. But almost now, everything has shifted to page 4, and with Ukraine being on page 9, sort of thing. The concern in the background, I think, for everybody is, can this Middle East war be contained? I think that is probably the most important one at the present time. And we do have adversaries in the world, China, Iran, Russia, etc. But can we contain it, or is this going to boil over into a continuing permanent war of some variety someplace? So I think containing this is the number one threat, or number one important thing we try to strive for.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Julie. Have a great day.
You too.